that's the full race truck. You're probably wondering how we ended up here. Hey, what's up? I'm Mike at MPT, and this is Full Race's 2021 3.5 liter Gen 3 Raptor. We got a cool project going on. We're getting it delivered right now. We got to inspect it. So let's take a look. Now I'm gonna have to give a little quick call to Full Race, find out if that's how it came. All right, so we have the truck in our possession. This is the Full Race 21 Raptor Gen 3. Wore my Full Race shirt today just for this. So what's special about this truck is it has the Garrett PowerMax turbos built for a Gen 2 truck on a Gen 3. It's got a Full Race special adapter that they are working on. There's actually something I want to show you. It's also got SPD downpipes that we're going to have to break in. So if I start it up, so if you can swing around here, two things going on currently. We have check engine light, and then we also have wrench going on, which when I first started up, it was full on the dash. So something isn't quite right. Not too big of a deal. We do know how to fix it. So just for the meantime, pre-check, I'm going to connect the SCT. It is not tuned right now, it's stock. However, there we go, there's a big one. Let's see if you can see it again. There we go. Checking the codes here. Oh, and like I was saying, it's on the stock tune right now, but technically, if done correctly, you shouldn't need a tune. Now granted, it's not gonna run good, and there actually is some pretty intense tuning side wastegate controls that's required to make it run great and have the turbos controlled smoothly, but we shouldn't be seeing all these codes. So we've got three codes present. P05A1, let's see if you can see these or not. P05A1, P05B0, and this is the one that's causing the wrench, P25B4. Supercharged wastegate A stuck closed. So that's one that we're going to have to fix before we even get going. Luckily, we know what the fix is. It's going to be a really exciting project. We're going to try to film as much as possible along the way. They did make a baseline run before installing the turbos. It was done in Arizona, but I've got that dyno graph so that we can overlay and show the differences. So, excited to get started. Next step is going to be to fix that code, get the wastegate stuck closed resolved, and start with our baseline. You want to grab it, or you need to? I can do it. Doesn't matter. Here's the keys. So basically, at the moment, it's got the wastegate code.
Secure lock.
Yeah, it didn't pop for me. So yeah, it's got a wastegate solenoid code on one side only.
Okay.
But we'll verify both of them. Why does the exhaust keep changing?
Side mirror was popped forward.
The exhaust kept changing tones. Could you hear that?
Yeah, it's weird. The dash it's blinking off with all the...
Yeah, it's got a bunch of stuff going on. All right, we're gonna be pulling in right here. Good. Yeah, go straight. A little bit this way. Good, straight, straight. You can start hooking. Looking good. And come straight. A little bit. And then turn. So this Gen 3 with the Garrett PowerMax Gen 2 turbos is actually the third truck that we've worked on. We've already successfully completed this project 2 times. On the very first one that we did, we worked actually with Jeff from Full Race and the customer. Everybody got together and we figured out how to manually repin the wastegates to get that one working. Super success. And then after that, I had a conversation with Jeff and I said, we need to make an adapter for this. So that's what he did. So we've used that before, and we actually had our own personal set here that we've verified, we've tested. That's how we know it works. And when this truck came in, one side was working, one side wasn't. So we definitely knew that we could fix it, and it would be pretty easy. So we removed those, documented them. We had driver's side working, passenger side was not working. So we did a little verification, comparing, and figured out what the issue was. And now we have already tested, and what do you know? Pretty much like 5-10 minutes later, we have a working combination. Take this blue tape off so that we can put it back in. I have tested it with the blue tape. I know it's working, and our wastegate stuck check engine light is gone. So my next step is to put these back in, and then I'm going to take it for a drive. It's still in the stock tune, but I'm going to go ahead and break in the SPD downpipes per their procedure. And then from there, maybe it's time to start having some fun. As I'm putting this wastegate adapter back in, I just wanted to show you where it goes and how it works. So from the factory, you've got your wastegate connector, and this would have been the stock wastegate. These don't line up, the wiring is different. So what we do is we take this inline adapter, which basically moves things around so it's in the right spot. Let me see. Probably can't do this one-handed, but I'm going to connect one side to the wastegate, one side to the factory connector, and that's going to do the trick. There you have it. We are connected inline, and they had it previously zip tied somewhere right here. Actually, try to keep it away from things, steering shaft or whatever. I think I'm going to keep it right here. So I'm going to zip tie it right there instead. Yes, that looks excellent. Keeps away from anything hot and anything that could potentially damage it. Same thing on the passenger side. Got a wastegate down here, and we have our adapter. This one has a nice little heat shield on it, and we're also running it around the outside over here, keeping everything away from the exhaust manifold down there. And that does it for the wastegates. They are connected back, DTC free. We are ready to go for a drive to break in these SPD downpipes. All right, so I'm in the truck right now, and it's time to break in the SPD downpipes, which this is the information that they provide. So we're currently heating it up. Then we're going to go through this process. I mean, right now the neighbor has a Corvette with a big cam chopping, so that's probably all you can hear. As you can see, we are on the dyno now, and I am about to make a stock with mods baseline run. It has 91 Arizona fuel in it, and we do have an existing dyno chart from this same truck on a dyno out in Arizona. So that's going to be a nice comparison. That dyno doesn't have load, so for the first run and for testing purposes, I'm going to try to replicate that run as much as possible. And this is going to really show us like the difference in the turbos, the spooling, and modifications. My guess is that we're going to see the torque curve hit later. We're going to see the boost spool slower. But, it's stock to stock tune. Turbos from the Garrett PowerMax Stage 2 are significantly bigger. And a lot of people forget that, is that with bigger turbos comes slower spool. The RPM spool point, or whatever you want to call it, does get shifted. So let's make a hit. This is again stock run with the modifications on the truck. Now let's take a look at the differences. let's take a look at this and discuss the results. Let me make this bigger real quick. So the orange line is the original pool from a different dyno while the truck had the stock turbos on. So you could see right away stock turbos were, and actually, let me back up. I switched this to speed in mile per hour because that's an excellent way to confirm that the dyno pools were made in the same gear. So as you can see, they both end relatively the same time, pretty close there. So then if we look at RPM, gray is the run from right now. On our dyno, we do have boost connected. The previous run did not have boost, but we could see that it's basically spooled up here, and that's pretty much when our torque hits, right here. So stock turbos are, what is that? It's about 700 RPM. Yeah. Because we're going from 3,500 to about 42. And another tip you can see is you can always look at like peak torque RPM. So on our current run, peak torque 460 at 4,000, so 4,100. The previous one, 473 at 3,500. So we could see already that on the stock tune with the turbos, we're spooling about 500 to 700 RPM later. That's totally expected. That's normal. These turbos, like I said, are way bigger than factory. The key benefit for larger aftermarket turbos is overall power when they become choked and carrying that power on the top end. So we're not really concerned about that loss in turbo spool on the low end because we're definitely going to make it up on the top end. Overall, just diving into the results, I tried to make it about the same. Looks like our run started a little bit later. I could definitely make another hit and try to start right there. What is this? About 2,200. I'm going to make another hit anyway, so I might as well try that. And then we have power. You can see horsepower is actually carrying a little bit better on the top end. I don't have a data log from when this first one was made, so I don't know the conditions, the intake temperatures, the air temperature. Whenever you're on a dyno, you always want a data log. That way you can have this information. A lot of times we get sent dyno graphs from people, and it's like, I wish I could help you, but this doesn't tell me anything. I don't know how much power you gained over stock because we don't have a stock dyno graph. I don't know if the data log was clean. I don't know if they heat soaked this thing before they made the pool. Like, we always want that data log when we're making a dyno graph, and usually we want a before and after. Same truck, same dyno, same day conditions. What's it make stock? Because you never know how that dyno is going to read. Is it, a dream killer, or is it a happy dyno that shows really high power? So anyway, back to this review. All I really see here is the spooling a little bit later. This is a little bit of just most likely the wastegate control and stuff that's required when you're running this kit on a Gen 3. I haven't taken a look at the data log yet, but like I said, you could see it's carrying power up top. How much horsepower is that? 20. Nice. From 365 to 385, basically with nothing. So that's that. I'm going to make one more hit to establish the baseline, and then we're going to start diving into the results of the data log and building our MPT tune file for this Gen 3 Raptor with Garrett PowerMax Gen 2 turbos on it. Let's go. All right, so we are still on the stock tune. Truck has all those modifications, whatnot. I'm going to make that extra pool, and I'm also going to take a quick peek at the data log. I know you can't see what I'm seeing, but oh wow. The anticipation. What am I seeing? Interesting, very interesting. All right, truck is still running. Intake temps look great. We are ready to make another hit. If you're new to our channel, we make our hits in 5th gear. Even though that is not 1-to-1, it's the safest and most consistent. And the key, again, is to do everything the same. So as long as we're making our tune hits in 5th and our stock runs in 5th, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna try to replicate that previous dyno pool. Let's go. Let's turn some stands off. We'll grab the camera and we'll take a look. Coming around. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. All right, let's go. What do we got? Just playing, ain't nothing changed. So you could see the new run. I tried to do it closer, which I think I pulled off. That's close enough, man. And power-wise, you're looking, those 2 runs were purple and gray. And, it's relatively the same. Got a little extra bump right there. Which, okay. So, I changed nothing, right? I made 2 hits. Dyno Jet, most commonly used dyno in the world. And if you look at this, it went from, where are we at? 394 to 399. Torque went from 460 to 472. Did we really gain power? No. Different conditions. One was heated up better. Everything was ready to go. The first one, that's why you always got to make extra runs. And that's why when you see these parts that we know don't make power, claiming to make power, showing a dynograph of it making power. Look, we just made power on those 2 runs, right? But nothing changed. So be careful when you're reading dynographs, especially when people post graphs with no baseline. Oh, we made 600 horsepower. So, anywho, we have the baseline established. Let's go. That's the boost curve. In some upcoming videos, maybe I'll show you what I saw in the data log, and we'll start to work some magic. It is officially go time. Now for our initial tune, we are limiting the boost. So we're gonna make a couple, easy going pulls, and then we're gonna take it up from there and see just how much power and boost we can run with these Garrett PowerMax turbos on this Gen 3 Raptor. Holy crap. This is literally our first hit. So this is stock with modifications versus our 93 tune with limited boost. Look at that, man. 528 horsepower. And that thing is no sign of stopping. Look at that chart. It's off to the moon. Torque limited. So that peak there, that's 100% controlled, intentional, max torque allowed. This is a stock engine. It's a 21 Raptor with like 73,000 miles, which is pretty high mileage if you ask me for a 21. So super happy with this first pool. We are just getting started. Holy crap though. Garrett PowerMax turbos on a Gen 3. Watch out. Making progress here. I've got some tune updates planned. They're on the truck now. Next step is to let the truck warm up, make some more hits. I am allowing a little bit more boost, so let's see just how much power we're gonna carry now. It's getting exciting. This is something I probably never would have thought that I'd be saying, but I wish I had some more 91 ACN Arizona fuel in this truck, because we are making some sick power on 91 octane that it came from Arizona with, but it doesn't have enough to make any more hits. So I've just added 5 gallons of 93 right there. And before we proceed to 93, holy crap, let's check out where we're sitting at the moment. Okay, ready for this? This is insane. This chart shows gray is the original stock run, stock turbos. This pool was made in Arizona on 91 octane. That made 390 horsepower and 473 torque. And then it got the modifications added to it. It's got some aftermarket turbos. The orange line is what we call stock with modifications. 394 horsepower and 460 torque. You can see it lost a bit on the spool up. It's got bigger turbos, that's expected. It actually carried a little bit even on the stock calibration. Not bad. And the purple line, dang, 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 this is our 91 octane Arizona fuel tune. 557 horsepower, 548 torque. Look at that curve. Holy crap. To the moon. It's just going. Look at this. It's just... that is super impressive. So that's 91 octane. I could probably make more on 91, but it's dangerously low in fuel, and I don't want to risk making a wide open throttle pool and all of a sudden the fuel pump goes dry. You know, nah, just not going to do it. So I've added some 93 octane to it, and now we're transitioning to our MPT 93 PRX tune. I would expect a little bit more here. Typically 3 to 5% difference between 91 and 93, but also we are severely limiting torque. It's a stock engine. This setup absolutely has the capability to rip and destroy this motor with the amount of power that it can put out. So I've got to approach it cautiously in terms of limiting torque and horsepower as well as boost. So 93 PRX coming up. Let's see if we can make that 3 to 5% extra. Until next time. Alright, so we are done with 93 octane to as much as we want to be. So now we've added some E85 and it's time to run an E50 PRX tune. 93 octane, it's already making ridiculous amounts of power. Let's see what happens. Smells like power. All right, let's go. We have just completed our E50 runs. You've got to see this. So let's talk about the results compared to the 93. And I've also got the original stock turbo run as well as the what we call stock with modifications run pulled up on the dyno. Check this out. Teaser. So these are a little sneak peek before I reveal the power numbers. So purple is the original, actually no, gray is the original stock runs. Stock turbo, this was done in Arizona. Purple is the stock with modifications. So this has the Garrett PowerMax turbos, the full race form line manifold. And then orange is our 93 PRX tune. And then blue, look at that sucker, is E50. So I also want to talk about, like, well, let's look at the power. Get ready for this. 690 horsepower, 632. Now keep in mind, this is a stock engine, so I'm still controlling this. I'm still limiting some of the power. This setup, I'm sure somebody's going to get a hold of it and just remove every single safety limit, everything, and it's going to make over 700 easy. How long? That's the question. I don't think it's going to be too safe at that point. Even like 632 torque, I probably wouldn't want the torque to be that high. That's to the wheels. The 577 is probably a more comfortable number for a stock engine. But, it's on the dyno. It's making a ton of power. Super happy. Holy crap, these turbos just crank in the setup. The Gen 3 combined with the Gen 2 turbos. This is a win-win setup. Absolutely. It is, as of now, as of today, this development phase. So you can't buy it right now, but I'm sure sometime in the near future, you're definitely going to be able to hook this up to your truck and just absolutely rip. This is TRX killer, Raptor R killer, like, holy crap. Super fun setup, especially if you're high RPM Baja racing type thing. Just pedal to the floor, like, let's go. So, I'm Mike at MPT. This has been a super fun project. Full race truck, full race modifications. They're behind the scenes warriors on this one, and I'm just putting together the final sauce. So, appreciate working with them, and until next time, stay tuned.